It's T-Bone and Chick Brew in the morning. Yes. No, that is not what we're doing.
It's T-Bone and Chick Brew, Friday starting at 06:30.
And now for a quick disclaimer. The T-Bone
and Chick Brew
in the morning show is for infotainment purposes only.
The opinions expressed here do not represent
Naval Station Rhoda, the Armed Forces Network,
or the Department of Defense.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Can you hear?
I can. It's like everything's magic.
It is.
It's all about technology today.
Oh my gosh, I was just watching Napoleon Dynamite not that long ago again.
I don't really.
Oh, gosh.
So we talk about technology. A lot of technological flaws out there. I put up the ad this morning and it was bad. I had to redo the ad at 4 o'clock this morning. So yeah, it's been a long morning for me.
It's already been a long day for you.
Yeah.
My shirt's not all the way dry, so my collar is still kind of
crimped.
Damp. Oh, it's the worst.
It's Friday morning.
It's like an unwanted cuddle around my neck.
An unwanted cuddle. What did Mitch say about that? He hated turtlenecks because it always felt like he was being strangled by a midget.
Well, that's inappropriate.
Well, I mean, this was it was his words. I mean, now they call it little people. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. And they have a show.
Yeah.
Is that still on? Do you know?
I don't know. The only little person I follow is my friend Tanya Lee. She's geez, her citizenship is so confusing. She is very popular in the UK. I believe she was an American of Canadian descent. I don't know. She's a very funny lady, and you ever get a chance to see her, she's definitely someone to watch. So speaking of funny comedians and people that we know, if the teleporter is working correctly today, we will transport into this room the being in essence of Danny Johnson, a good friend and comedian on the Dry Bar comedy series. So hopefully the teleporter is working. I got to go check with the technicians and make sure that that's happening. But in the meantime, it's T-Bone and Chick Brew in the morning, and woohoo! It's Friday.
Oh, thank goodness. I also busted my own lip this morning, so we're just well on our way.
Nice.
We're a good group today. All right, I've got some more music coming up while T-Bone goes and does science.
Science.
Yeah.
You are button pushing today.
I am pushing all the buttons.
You are earning your paycheck,
Everyone
lady.
gets a button push.
Technology gremlins are at their best today. So we're trying to figure some things out. Right now, we know that if you are listening to us on the AFN 360 app, well, you're probably not.
You're not hearing
Yeah,
us.
the technicians, I can tell you that right now the technicians are working diligently. DJ AT specifically, thank you for all you do. He is working real hard to make that AFN 360 feed, and hopefully while I'm speaking, you start to hear my voice. Or you hear Chick Brew's voice, because she's also with me in the studio.
I'm here.
So we tried the teleporter, and, well, half man, half fly showed up. So we sent that back. We didn't... I need more powder, Captain!
No.
So we're working it. It does look like the teleportation thing is going to work. We were able to transport something. So we're going to have a special guest in the studio when we come back from our next little music break. And then after that interview, what we're going to do is I'm going to share a secret with you. Now pay attention. It's going to be a while before I share the secret with you. This is called a teaser in the radio jargon, or in the broadcasting jargon. This is a teaser. I'm telling you now what I'm going to tell you later in hopes that you're listening later. So,
But will you listen?
Father's Day is coming up. Yeah, it is.
The cards are still in the backpack.
I am going to share with you an infinite piece of knowledge that you need to hear. I'm going to tell you what the best Father's Day gift is, and I'm going to tell you how to give it. So that's going to be this show. It'll be towards the end of the show, but it'll be after the interview that we do with our friends Danny Johnson. So that's what's coming up. We're going to go back to the music, and then we're going to come back. We're going to have an in-studio guest. It's going to be awesome. You don't believe me?
I mean,
Show me some enthusiasm over there, you button clicker.
Chirp.
It's T-Bone and Chick Brew in the morning. And we're back to T-Bone minus Chick Brew in the morning. DJ Dill Pickle, a big Dill Pickle,
A burr.
is standing in with us. And live in the studio, we do have comedian Danny Johnson with us. And we're talking about his experiences out there in the Utah lands, filming the Dry Bar Comedy Special. Danny, how many hits are you looking at right now? How many videos did they release, and what are the numbers?
I think they've released 3 on Facebook, and the same 3 plus an additional 4th one on YouTube, and they're like 3 to 5 minutes. And I think we're looking at a total of 4 to 5 million views, which is mind blowing. And it's only been when did it get released? April?
Yeah, April. I think it was like April 19th. So you're coming up on 2 months out there, and almost 5 million views.
And the response has been amazing. I mean, the likes on my Facebook page and the sales of the stuff that I hawk on my website, and the comments. I've gotten some nice comments and conversations, private messages, some creepy, some not.
I want to know, only because like my most popular video pegged out at about 60,000 hits, and I got a lot of weird contact from that, but nothing I couldn't handle. I didn't need to think about hiring an assistant or anything along those lines. You're almost at 5 million. Was there any particular point where you're like, this is just you're like swearing off social media, or you're just giving up, or you're hiring an actual assistant? Have you gotten to that point, or are we still working towards that?
Yeah, we're still working towards it. It's just weird because I have I think I knew it was going to be pretty good. They didn't tell me when my Dry Bar Comedy Special was going to be released. So I'm scrolling through Facebook and I see myself. I was like, wow, I didn't post anything of mine. And then I realized, oh my gosh, it's out. And it was out for 18 minutes, and it had something like 17 or 18,000 views. It was 1,000 views a minute.
That
and I was like,
insane.
Wow. I know. And then I have OCD, so any notification.
A common trait amongst comics.
Yeah, I gotta clear the notifications, which became too much with all the messages and likes and shares and comments. Some of the comments were mean, by the way, and I was happy to respond to those people.
Did you actually respond to the mean comments?
Absolutely. Or I gave it a sad face. Let's just say I think one of them has like 700 comments or whatever. So I go through them all. A lot of them are just like where someone tagged their friend to watch it or whatever. One guy put, I think it was a guy from Australia. He put something like, this guy is not even funny. I mean, really not funny, or something like that. I was like, so I gave him a sad face emoji. How do you like that? It's just weird that someone would take the time, 99% positive comments, to watch something and then you don't like it, and you're like, I got to tell the rest of the world how much I don't like this. So stupid.
One of our mutual friends years ago, he's about 6'4", about 320-pound black man. I think you know who I'm talking about. Big Baby was killing it one night at the Comedy Zone, and I got one of the comment cards, and I just pulled it aside. Now, this is before internet trolling became a thing, and you had to troll your friends on comment cards. And I remember my comments, and I filled it out just as normal as can be. I think my name was Dawn, and I was really happy with my service and the shows. And I specifically talk about each comedian. And I was on Big Baby, and I said he'd be a lot funnier if he was skinny and white. So you just you pull the pin on that laughter grenade and you let it go. So after the show, they're going through the comments, and I don't remember if it was Shelly. I don't remember who the manager was back then, but they get to that comment and they call Big Baby over to say, you got a lot of work to do. This customer has some solid input on you. And I'm off I'm just watching this happen, and he gets it, and it's this mixture of like racism and anger and hilarity all wrapped into one. So the guy from Australia, we get it. You were trying to be funny. Guess what? You failed. There's a way to have fun with people, and there's, of course, a way not to have fun with people. When we come back after this break and a little bit of music, we're going to talk about other ways of just having fun with people. It's T-Bone and Chick Brew in the morning with special in-studio guest Danny Johnson. And we're back. That's right, T-Bone and Chick Brew in the morning. Of course, if you haven't been listening, it's minus Chick Brew. She had to step out of the office for the moment, but DJ Bill Pickle. What?
Bill Pickle. Pickle. Yeah, I like it.
Even when I said it wrong, I tried to correct it. You know what? I'm not hydrated. It's too early in the morning. DJ Big Dill Pickle.
There it is.
Needs that big in it. Is helping me out. And, of course, in studio is comedian Danny Johnson. So we've been talking about Danny's experiences with some of the stuff he's been filming back in the States. But in case you didn't know, Danny is also an author. That's That's right. It's always nice to be able to put author next to your name. That's why
Right.
that's why I've been
not a
working
lot
on my
of big
book
words.
for like 10 years now.
Not a lot of big words in this one.
Third grade reading level.
If you're, I think if you're doing comedy and you're using words that have more than 4 syllables, you're probably writing the book wrong. But this isn't really a comedy book, Danny. This is like a book you could laugh at and still get valuable information from. Am I correct?
It is. So I wanted to, back in my corporate America days, I did a lot of hiring, writing of interview questions, building, helping launch and build contact centers, call centers. So I noticed a lot of people stank terribly at job interviews, and that's understandable, right? What you do what, one every couple of years, depending on what depending on what industry you're in, right? So it's not very frequent that you do job interviews. So I was like, I need to. People are asking me, how do I get better at interviews? I'm like, well, you probably shouldn't do one ever again, but I will help you. And so I just jotted all this stuff down. It's a one night. Although the book's a one night read, there's some exercises in the back of the book. And it's like worksheets to help you prep for an interview. And some of it's very basic, some of it's a little bit more complicated on how to answer specific sets of questions. And then I just have fun throughout the book. I talk about different examples of some crazy people that I've interviewed, stupid answers, wardrobe. One lady came in with a small basket of candies and gave it to me in a mug. Like that was my secret Santa or something. I was like, why would I get this in an interview? It just creeped me out that she came in with this satchel and then gave me a gift.
There's a market out there you don't know about. In the Department of Defense and the Department of State, they send around these motivational speakers. They send around these instructional speakers. They send around basically comedians that aren't doing comedy, but they have a book to their name and they go around talking about their book. It's a very lucrative market. It is what the comedy college market used to be. There's a lot of money in it. And I'll only take 10% if I can connect you with the right people to make this happen. Because active duty people, the game only plays for so long. Eventually, everybody has to leave the service. And there's always some kind of seminar or workshop or something that tells them how to get a job. But I bet you none of them are giving the honest, no kidding, from a guy's perspective who's hired hundreds of people, these are the things you're doing wrong. Like, that skirt, although it might look good on you, is probably inappropriate. Oh, you call it a kilt? Oh, okay.
But yeah, I would love to get involved in something like that. And even because large companies are huge on hiring ex-military, right? It's great to get that kind of talent in your company, and it also looks great PR-wise, right? But a lot of times I find veterans, both men and women, have trouble translating what their current skill set is and how it would apply to they're great at telling you what they're great at in the military, but how does that translate into the business world and what they're applying for? So I can help with that. But I would love to get involved in something like that. I can make it fun, throw some jokes in.
Wow. Well, if I can't promise you the money, but I could promise you a spot on a weekly radio show giving that kind of information away.
I'd listen.
Yeah,
I'll give you 10%. You're my new booker.
I was going to throw that out there when you were asking about, are you looking for a secretary? I was like, are you upgrading your job? You put that on your resume?
Hey, I always have feelers out there. These good looks aren't going to get me this far very much longer. So,
the face for radio.
I do have a face for radio, but so when we come back, when we have more with comedian Danny Johnson, it's T-Bone and Chick Brew in the morning. Call us in the studio 727-1025 or via your cellular phone 956-82-1025. So I got a lot of mental issues. Everybody knows I got mental issues. I'm not mentally unstable. I just got issues, and one of them is hypochondria. I have become a more and more obsessive hypochondriac the older I get and the more disgusting people get. So I got an itch in my throat yesterday, and I knew that this interview was coming, and this interview was exciting to me. I wanted to do this. I was happy, and I started like, oh, that itch in my throat. Oh, I got a virus. Oh, it's the Black Plague. Oh, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. I'm not gonna be able to get the interview done, but luckily I was able to push through it. Do you, as a fellow OCD and aging adult who, as we all grow up, we all get issues, what would you call your issues? If you just had to lay them out on the table, it's speed dating with issues, and go.
I would say, so my OCD, the last couple of years of my life, I've really been like eliminating routine. So I definitely have a routine before a show and after a show. I have a routine on how I write. I'm not a hypochondriac so much, but I definitely boil my hands after shaking everyone's hand in the audience after the show.
No. That's one of the things that gets you
smart,
there.
Yeah, no, it's smart.
It starts with a germophobia kind of thing, and it develops into boiling your hands.
But yeah, it was funny. I was working with this great comic named Jake Johansson. I think he holds the record for the most appearances on Letterman, 29 or something like that. And he saw me doing the hand sanitizer after every time I gave an autograph or sold a CD or whatever after the show. And he's like, well, why do you do the hand sanitizer? I'm like, oh, I'm a bit of a germaphobe and I have OCD and I want clean hands and the sanitizer. And then he points to the bottle and he goes, what about the outside of the bottle? And it freaked me out. I thought that was hilarious.
I hate you, Jake Johansson.
Right, because I'd have dirty hands. I would touch the outside of the bottle. I would squeeze the hand sanitizer, clean my hands, and then put the bottle down, and the bottle outside of the bottle is still dirty.
And this is how Howie Mandel ended up a psychopath. You know, since he started doing TV, 10 years ago, he dialed it back a little bit. But prior to that, Howie was losing his mind, where he was wearing rubber gloves everywhere he went, and manic compulsive with taking them off every time he got touched something. Just, it's okay. If you grow old enough, you're allowed to have your certain twitches. If I was 19 years old and I was as crazy as I am right now, there would be a problem. But I'm 50 years old. I'm allowed to have issues. And I said it. And when you get there, don't you look at me like that. When you get oh man. So
I think my biggest look, if I don't go to the doctor, there's nothing wrong, right?
That is a true statement. That is a true statement.
No news is good news.
And if you don't go to the hospital, because that's where people go to die, right? These are things that cause men's life expectancies to be shorter than women's. There's a reason for it, but it works for us, ladies.
That's right. And that's one of the bigger jokes in my comedy special about going to the doctor. And you have no idea you have a problem. Everything seems fine. You feel great, and they go in there, and all of a sudden you're obese.
My biggest fear in life is going to the doctor, because now I'm at the point where the words the doctor's going to say is, if we'd have just caught this 2 weeks earlier. Because 2 weeks ago, my wife was telling me to go to the doctor. All right, folks, when we come back, we have more with comedian Danny Johnson. It's T-Bone and Chick Brew in the morning. Call us in the studio, 727-1025, or via your cellular phone, 956-82-1025, or hit us up on the AFN Roto Facebook page. Dry bar. Okay.
Trial by laughter. That's probably the two most recent ones.
Okay.
I mean, you can go on DannyJohnson.com and see the links to all this crap I sell that I've done. Ringtones and greeting cards.
What does a Danny Johnson ringtone sound like?
Oh, I do this character in my act occasionally. That's my Aunt Margie from Brooklyn, and she's been smoking for 60 years, and she's really pissed when people call her. So in my act, she's like one of the people on the P90X workout DVD. So she gets angry when people call her. She's like, you can't text me. You got to call me. You got a phone call. Now I got to stop what I'm doing and answer.
Oh, that's good. I like it. I've done.
It sounds kind of familiar. Sounds like somebody mimicking their wife.
So. Yeah. So since we last seen each other, I have divorced and remarried, and the one I remarried is from Jersey, and she's gorgeous and she's blonde and she's wonderful. She treats me right. She just she's a little overpowering in the vocal department because of her past career life, and she sounds like a mentholated bingo player in Fort Lauderdale around this time of year from Jersey. So Tony, she's a mix between the boss of Wisnowski and
what did they say? What does that lady say to Wazowski? Wazowski. Always watching. That almost sounds like Krusty the Clown.
A little bit.
Or the Sisters on The Simpsons.
Yeah,
Sisters, the smokers.
Of course. So the wife, of course, hates the impression, but she also laughs at the impression. And every time we're going somewhere, I remember one time she took the time because I was doing the voice and everyone's laughing, and she stops everyone and says, "Hey, I don't really talk like that.
And it sounds exactly like it.
Okay, so we're going to go back to some music real quick, and then we'll be back with comedian Danny Johnson from the Dry Bar Comedy Series. And information for the specific website will be released on the Facebook pages. So we'll be back in a moment. And we're back. It's T-Bone and Chick Brew in the morning. Absent Chick Brew, who's out taking care of other things, but I got Big Dill Pickle and comedian Danny Johnson with us in the studios. Danny, unfortunately, to bring you into the studio, upper management, Karen. No, Karen's not good anymore. You need an updated, like, irritating manager's name. What do you got?
Stephanie.
Oh, how about Davon? Yeah. Yeah, our upper management, Davon. They insist that when we bring people into the studio, we conduct interviews with them, and that means we have to ask questions. And it's not like just having a conversation questions, it's like real questions. So I'm going to ask you, I'm going to do what we call the 3-question interview with you, and these are your questions. Are you prepared to answer?
Always.
That's question number 1.
He passes.
I'm a little nervous about it.
Oh, you're going to love it. So if you could combine the DNA from any 2 animals, which 2 would you choose and why?
If I could combine the DNA from any 2 animals, what would you choose and why?
Yes. See, that's a interviewing technique where you buy time by repeating the question.
Yeah.
I read the book.
So if I heard you correctly, what 2 animals? Look, I think we all know that I love to eat. And can you believe that none of my friends or family has heard of meatball pizza? Have you ever heard of meatball pizza?
Of course I've heard of meatball pizza. You put meatballs on pizza. It's amazing.
Yes. No, and they go, beef? I go, no, it's meatball. They go, what's the difference? I'm like, I don't know, just have a meatball pizza. And now Pizza Hut makes a pretzel crust. So pretzel crust, meatball pizza.
Oh, book me a
die
flight
for
back
it.
to America. I need this in my life.
I can't believe they made. It's like having a piece of pizza and then you have one of those Aunt Marie's pretzels at the end waiting for you.
Oh, like you were a good boy. Like finishing
Yeah,
your pizza was a good thing. Congratulations.
You were a good boy.
Here's a higher carb dessert.
So, well, I hope that answered your question.
That was a great answer. I loved it. Question number 2. If you created your own registered trademark, what would it look like?
It would look like a giant meatball. Now, I think you're assuming I know what trademark means.
So, you know, Russ Nagel, he did his dry bar comedy. And we've both known Russ for a very long time, and Russ's Dry Bar was fantastic, and it took off really, really well. And I saw him recently doing an interview. It may have been in Jacksonville, but he was talking about he would be doing the interview on, and one of the guys got on there and it's like, hey, say the word pineapple. So Russ does a great interview, and it's solid all the way through, and at the very end, like Tyrion Lannister trying to tell a joke about a honeycomb and a mule, he gets in just enough about the pineapple, and they cut the commercial.
He's phenomenal. He's a vet comedian. You know, he's been doing it forever. One of the fastest comics I've ever seen as far as what do they used to call him? The Gatling gun of comedy?
No, the machine gun of comedy, yeah.
Yeah.
Now he's known as America's Funniest Biker. A complete persona change. I love Russ, and Russ has been really good to a lot of comedians along the way. I remember him back when we were using, what was that stuff before all the social media? It was like AOL message boards. And there was one, it was called ACS. It was Alt Comedy Stand-Up. Mm-hmm. And Russ was on that. And Russ is no spring chicken. He's got me by like a year or 2. You know, he's an old man. That's not
he's
fair.
in his 80s then.
Yeah. Now, here we go with question number 3. Danny Johnson, if you were wrongfully committed to a sanitarium, how would you convince them that you were sane and not just pretending to be sane?
So stupid. I think if they simply logged on to my website, www.dannyjohnson.com, and purchased everything that's linked there, that would be proof. By the way, when we give people websites, why do we continue to do www? Like, people don't know.
There's the same reason we use the word "the" in front of the word hospital or college or university. We're Americans, and that's what we do.
It's the same reason I think people still leave a voicemail message with instructions on how to leave a voicemail. At the tone, please leave your name. I know how it works. I know what to do after the tone.
Yeah, I noticed. So, like, the number one word used in the English language is the word "the," and we got our English in America from the British, and the British refuse to use the word "the" when it's appropriate. They don't go to the university. Oh, we go to university. Or they don't go to the hospital. I don't know why. I just wanted to go on a tangent on Zap's
It's part of
law.
one of the, when we kicked their butts,
Right.
back all those
Well,
years
they're
ago.
smarter than us.
They're smarter than us. No, they are not. And if you live with British people long enough, you'll realize they're just weird-sounding rednecks.
I just did that Ancestry.com stuff.
Oh, no.
Where you spit into a little vial and you send it in and get your... So I'm mostly... Well, it turns out I'm 50% Bud Light and 50% anxious.
That's hilarious.
No, but I'm mostly... but they said I'm mostly English.
Really?
English, Swedish, and Irish. And then a small...
Do you still drink?
Occasionally.
Okay, there's the bit of the Irish.
Occasionally.
And when you're
He loves
skinny...
meatballs, so obviously Swedish.
When you're skinny, you do... Yeah, he does. when you're going through skinny Danny phase, you do not look Swedish. But as you... What did you call it? The Chusky life? As you embrace the Chusky lifestyle, you do
The
tend to
chubby
look
husky hybrid.
a lot more Swedish.
Right. And then believe it or not, my grandmother on my father's side was born and raised in Puerto Rico. So I'm a little bit Puerto Rican. How do you like them? I'm like the United Nations.
Dave, thanks so much for getting up and coming in this morning. We really appreciate having you here. It's been a blast. I'm sorry Chick Brew didn't get to spend this time with you, but she's going to have to learn all about you from the internets. Ladies and gentlemen, I know we don't have a way of hearing your applaud while you're driving in traffic, but please give it up one good time for my friend Danny Johnson. Yay!
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it. I'll come back anytime.
You love me?
Whatever. Hey, thanks for coming back.
I might.
I just had one of the best interviews of my career, and you couldn't be here for any of it.
That sounds about right. Actually, that sounds exactly like something I would do. You're welcome.
So sorry.
I didn't want to show you up.
Sorry about the weather in Okinawa. I'm sorry you're having a bad day out there, Chief, but it's going to get better, I promise you. And for all those people who've recently been served divorce papers, I'll tell you this, it's going to get better. Just, it will get better. And I had two guys both get the papers on the same day. It's okay, guys. It's going to get better. Here we go. I had a great interview, and I promised you earlier in the show that I was going to give you the greatest Father's Day gift that you could possibly give. I'm giving you that right now.
Thank you for waiting for me to get back.
Yes. The greatest gift you can give your father on Father's Day is not a tie, it's not cufflinks, it's not cologne, it's not even a Walmart gift card. It's time. Now, as corny as that may seem, I'm being 100% honest. The things that your dad will remember years from now are not the Walmart gift card and the tie and the cufflinks. Or the new car, maybe the new car. If you got money to buy your dad a new car, go ahead and buy him a new car. But if you don't,
I'll take one too.
It's not the kind. It's not. You're going to spend 2 hours shopping for the perfect Father's Day card with somebody else's words on it. But if you just spent 30 minutes with your dad while you have your dad, I hate to be in a downtrodden kind of way about this, but I say it as honestly as possible. Spend time with your dad on Father's Day, and he'll treasure that more than anything else you could possibly give him for longer than you could possibly imagine. Now, I say that with this warning. Don't be weird about it. If you know what the gift you're going to give him, the real gift you're going to give him is the time that you spend with him, and it needs to be quality time. But you can't just approach him and say, "Happy Father's Day, Dad. I'm going to spend some quality time with you," and then sit there and stare at him, because he'll laugh. He'll laugh for 2 seconds, and then he'll say, "Okay, that was great. Now I'm going to go back to doing something that doesn't involve you." Because dads aren't good with this. I speak for dads, and I think I'm right with most of them. There may be some exceptions out there, whatever, you're special. But for the most part, dads are just focused on being dads, or the game, or the job, or the next thing. And we also take our children for granted. So if you, as the child, want to give your dad a gift, do it in a neat way. You know, hey,
Let's go buy something for mom. That's
don't you dare! It's our day.
yeah, we're gonna spend the whole day together getting something for mom.
Yeah, but don't make it painful. Like, if your dad likes playing cards, play some cards with him or a board game. Do something that actually requires you to be engaged with each other, or go to lunch, you know, but put the phones down. Hey, while we're on it, you nasty people with the phones, stop it. Stop it, okay? We know what you do with that phone. We know where you go with that phone, and that phone is filthy. It is covered in germs. Keep it off the table.
Give you $1 if you lick it.
Keep it off the table. All right, so that is your Father's Day special. Thanks to comedian Danny Johnson for joining us in the studio. Thanks for Big Dill Pickle and helping me out when Chick Brew abandoned me. Thanks for being wonderful listeners. And remember, if your father's still around this Father's Day, the greatest gift that you can give him is quality time spent. So with that being said, it was a great Friday, and I hope you have a wonderful, safe weekend. This is T-Bone and Chick Brew in the morning, signing off, reminding you to be the best person that you could be, and if you were a great person yesterday, be an even better person tomorrow.
And don't forget that you are loved.